Hello and welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake
And Matt.
You know what time it is!
I can't tell you guys enough how much you've been my internal monologue when thinking about football for the last year.
Amazing! We get to record while drinking some wine. Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
we love him.
We love him. Stop zooming in on Allegri's face, bro. You're gonna make
How
me
are you
break.
exposing me?
Because you're gonna make me break, guys.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This week is episode 193 and I'm your producer and editor. It is not your host, Jake or Matt. It is me, Nick. You haven't heard from me for a while probably, but yeah, it's that time of the year again. It's international break. That means Jake and Matt need to think of different content ideas because there's no matches going on right now. Not in the Serie A at least. So yeah, they kind of left me to my resources, and here I am recording an intro for you guys because we have a few voice messages sent in from our patrons. Yes, they're talking about their favorite teams, they're talking about the teams they support, and to be honest, I'm very excited for you guys to hear it. Now, what do you mean about Patreon, Nick? What is Patreon? What is this? What is that? I'm not going to bore you much, but basically, Patreon is a very important thing to keep this podcast going. It helps us upgrade equipment. It makes the podcast feel better, sound better, overall look better as well. We've upgraded our systems, this mic as well. Like, there's lots of things that has helped us with. What do you get in return? That's an amazing question. You get exclusives like a Discord chat and opportunities to be on the videos like this. There's going to be multiple people on this video all talking about their favorite teams. Imagine, we get to give you the opportunity to do that in front of an audience of about 2,000 listeners per episode. That's insane, and I think you guys definitely will enjoy it. It's a group of a lot of like-minded people. So yeah, that's going to basically be our episode today. And if you become a patron sometime in the future, you might get this opportunity to do this too. So that's very exciting, and I'm very excited for this new segment that I'm able to bring to you thanks to our patrons. Thank you so much. I'd also like to give a shout out to Benovobid, our sponsor. They help us so much, and they've got match. Oh my god, Matt does this really well. Okay, I'm gonna keep this in just because Matt does it super well every single time he does it. What an excellent guy he is at speaking. They make it seem so easy. Match official kits that are signed by players that you can put bids on. The bids go to charity, and it is just helping out charity while you are kind of trying to get a kit for yourself. It's really cool. So thank you so much, Ruben Overbid, for helping this podcast out completely. Now, on to today's segment. This week, as I said, is a patron special, so we have loads of voice recordings, loads of voice messages about different teams, different clubs that these patrons support, what their thoughts are in this current moment in time of the season is. So, yeah, we have loads of people ranging from Milan, Roma, Fiorentina, they're Napoli as well, not every single team, but a lot of the teams in Serie A, and I'm very excited to hear everybody's opinions on their own club and where they think they stand. Also, I'll give you guys a little of my thoughts about United because Liverpool's coming up this weekend, a big game, and if you guys are interested in the Premier League, you guys can listen along because I'm very nervous and I need to get it out, and they left me to my resources, so they're like, you know what, Nick, you can do a little bit on United if you want, so I'll leave that in the end for anyone who wants. Now, for our first guest, it is none other than Max from Bite O' Bacon, the Maltese podcast. He's been a guest on this podcast before. He's actually in our intro. Not sure if you guys realized, but yeah, take it away, Max.
Hello, guys. Thank you for letting me speak my mind about the club who I've been following since the 90s. club who has given me lots of joy, lots of anger, and has also given me Kevin Constant. What can you do? You can't win them all, can you, Hasra? Imma this season, at least after the roller coaster that was happening since the last championship under Pioli, I believe that, or at least I'm feeling, that finally Milan they have a plan. Whereas before it was a bit hit and a miss, everyone couldn't figure out what the hell is going on. Now at least Allegri has solidified the team, and the people aren't lost. The players don't look lost. La Pavlovic is not a headless chicken anymore, you know. Tomori is there. Gabbia, be it as it is relatively solid, and funnily enough, that's the weak side of the team from individual standpoint, in my opinion. La Wara is good, too. The back is perfectly fine. They're solid, conceding few near to nothing. So I have to say, as compared to before, where we were like fireworks, everyone is just around the place doing whatever he sees fit and loses the formation. Now they're pretty solid, they're stable, they're good. We have a purpose, and which is obviously Allegri's ugly football, essentially the defending side of the style, the Italian mentality, and it's working out well. We spoke about this, Jake and I, and Allegri is this season, though he's good, he's there. I'm confident finally after the Fonsecas and the Portuguese nightmares that now at least we have a coach who's good in the Serie, knows what he's doing. He ins and outs. I love his outbursts. The fact that he gets angry at every little thing is beautiful. Shows the guy's passionate, and I have full faith in him. We should get top 4 Champions League this season. I'm pretty solid, and I would dare say we're a dark horse for the championship, given we don't have anything else. No European football is focused on that. The problem is the goals. That is a bit of a shit side of things, because up front we have Pulisic, who's trying to play the Superman role. When he comes in, everyone expects him to save the game. Jimenez, Santi, to be fair, I'm kind of understanding his role a bit more under Allegri, and I think Allegri has realized his rubbish, so he's making him work hard, and that at least is appreciated, because he's working like a dog miskin. He runs back and he tries to cover, and he's always behind the ball. You know what? That's a bit shit for an attacker to do, but he's doing it well under Allegri. Apart from him injuring Jashari, which is a fucking pity, but anyways. But there's Leo. I have been always under defense on that bloody guy. I have no idea. I don't know where to put him yet. He's like that girl, you know, who you think I should. Madonna, will it smell? I don't know. He's still a big question mark for me. But I believe if there is anyone who can get him out, who can get his real potential out, or at least kick him out of the fucking club, it's Allegri. My standouts by far is for Modric. Modric it's a beauty to see. It's great to see him there 90 minutes. 40-year-old man is just orchestrating everything. I haven't felt safe with a player in the middle of the pitch for a long time, and Rabiot as well. The middle ground is insane this year. Fofana as well. I'm not terribly sure what he is. And he pisses me off a lot, but then he does some decent things. What I want is more Richie. That's what I'm disappointed. I want to see more Richie. I would die to see Richie play a whole game. See how he does. Him, Rabiot, and Modric. I think they would work wonders together. On the whole, I'm very positive. Salamakers is legit insane. I hope he doesn't lose his place from Leao or whoever, or Pulisic in this case. But I've loved him since forever. He's always been great. I mean, you can tell that he gives his heart and soul. So if I would have to choose standout player, I would say Salamakers, which for me is the heart of the team. She's always angry, be it as it is. And then when it comes down to on a flop side, this season, Ostia, no one's pissing me off. I would have to go with Santi because of the lack of goals, and the lack of runs, and the lack of speed, and the lack of headers. But I would say he, Miskin, poor guy, and I feel sorry for him. I really want him to do well. I want him to do extremely well. And I'm going to continue hoping in this. I really wish for this. And well, now we see. But yes, looking forward to the next game. Fuck Inter, fuck Juventus, and the rest of the Serie from beginning to end. And keep up the good work, guys. Have a good one. Peace out. Take care.
Thank you, Max, for your comments that you have sent in on this voice message. Now it's on to Alan, who's also a Milan fan. So let's let him take it away.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Jake. Hi, Matt. Hi, Nick. Hope everybody's doing well down there in Malta. I'm really impressed by the work you've done, guys, and I'm really amazed about how much the pod has grown lately, how rapidly it's been growing lately. Amazing, well done, really impressive. Keep it going, guys. I'm Alan. I live in Norway. I'm a Milan fan, and I'm here to give you my 2 cents about our season so far. Let me just pull up Jake's notes, because I need some guidance in my life. How has your team performed so far this season? Are you optimistic or pessimistic? I am rather optimistic, obviously. We had a really strong start to the season. We did slip up against Cremonese. It was embarrassing. I hated it. But we've done the job in the other games that we're supposed to win. We got a strong result. I mean, we beat Napoli. It's not a strong result. It's a fantastic result to beat the reigning champion. We got points away to Juventus in a game that we could have, maybe should have won. And we destroyed Udinese away, which has been a bit of a bogey team in the past. So all in all, very strong start, which of course makes me optimistic. We are playing once a week, and we have a very talented squad compared to the rest of the league. I think we can say that we are on level with Napoli and Inter in terms of talent. So yeah, I think we should be competing given these circumstances. We have a coach who is known for getting results. Ugly, but he gets them. And no, I'm not a big fan of Allegri as a coach or a person, but now he's coaching Milan, so I will just have to support him and bite my lips sometimes. What I'm pessimistic about, maybe I can mention that as well, is a little bit about Allegri, because I'm a bit worried how it's going to be when Lau returns to full fitness, and how is he going to fit in this formation. I think it's very strange that we don't play with 3 attackers, given the squad we have available, as both Lau and Pulisic are best on the wings. I'm a bit worried that we are underutilizing our most lethal weapons if we are going to force them to play, or especially Lau, if we're going to force him to play in more centrally in a 3-5-2. We'll see how this turns out during the season, but yeah, I just wish we had a coach who would play a 4-3-3, really. Who has impressed me the most? Luka Modric, without a doubt. I must have underestimated that man heavily in the past, because I thought he would come in for 20 minutes against the teams who have a low block, against the teams who park the bus, so he can camp outside their box and just pick out those passes, the crosses and such. But he has been so much more. He's been the dictator really in the entire game. I was going to say he's going to be he's Milan's dictator, but he's dictating the entire game for both teams. He's always available to receive the pass. He is always able to find a teammate, and if he's not able to find a teammate, he makes a random sprint to buy himself some time, and he finds a teammate. It's really, really impressive what the man does. He reads the game so well. He is really intelligent. He's able to jog in the path where he knows the ball will arrive, and makes an interception that for some might look very easy, or he makes it look easy, but that man is just pure intelligence. I love him. I adore him. It's so fun to watch him, and I'm so amazed. Who has disappointed me? Easy answer, Estupinian. The red card against Napoli, I'm still pissed off about it, and I think his movement on the pitch indicates that the nickname Estupinian is maybe a bit justified. He really strikes me as somebody who reads the game poorly, which is, I think, a key attribute to a player who has such a flexible role, really, as he does, is that you need to be able to read the game. So yeah, he's really disappointed me. I'll just also mention a situation has disappointed me quite a bit, and that's the Samuele Ricci situation. I don't quite understand why it's so difficult to incorporate that man, because he's full of talent. And if you're not able to find a way to play both him and Modric simultaneously, I think that you're failing a little bit, especially considering that you are playing Fofana from the start, that you are subbing in Ruben Loftus-Cheek. In fairness, I think Ruben is subbed in because of his size and his height, because that's the qualities that are needed in that stage of the game. But yeah, Samuele Ricci needs to be incorporated into this squad. It's such a waste to have that talent on the bench not contributing on the pitch. And I'm also a bit pessimistic about Santi Jimenez. I think that he will get very few balls under Allegri, much like Vlahovic did in Juventus under Allegri. And I think for a player who's already low on confidence and missing things he would normally score, it's a bad combination. But yeah, those are, I mean, I'm a fan, so I tend to focus on the things that can get better. But all in all, I'm very happy about our season so far, and I'm optimistic. I think we can push for a challenge this year, and it's going to be fun to watch, although my enthusiasm will be somewhat curbed due to our manager. But hey, if he brings the results, I'm not going to complain.
Thank you so much, Alan, for your thoughts. We appreciate it very much. Very interesting for sure. Now on to Norbert, another Milan fan. Let's let him take it away.
Hello, I'm Norbert, and as you all know, I am a Milan fan, so of course I will be talking about Milan. How the team performed till now. So, I'm quite happy with the team's performance. I think all Milan fans are happy. Honestly, I expected that we started this way after last year disaster season. A club like Milan, we don't afford to have another season like last year. The board, I think they acknowledge the fact that they made some bad decisions. They hired the technical director with Serie experience, and also they got a coach with a lot of experience in Serie A, and he knows how to win, and he knows how to control big players and the dressing room. Something that last season we did horribly wrong. Also, we had a decent transfer market. We got some experienced players and also some young players that they are investments. We offloaded a lot of players that they needed to go, and for so many reasons, which I won't mention because it will take forever. So yes, I expected that we start the season this way. Hopefully we can continue on this note. There will be difficulties for sure, injuries and stuff like that, but on the whole, I believe we can still do a good job this season. The players that impressed me the most, there are two mainly, which are Modric and Salamakers. I will start with Modric because, okay, we all knew that Modric can do a great job. He's one of the best midfielders in the last 20 years. But the thing that impressed me the most is that this guy at 40 years, he's still doing it. He's still the best player from all the 22 players that are involved in a football game. And okay, I would have imagined that when we are in possession and when he has the ball, he can give us that extra something, the pass, like in division that he can offer. But this guy, when we are defending and we are not in a possession and we are chasing the opponent, this guy doesn't stop pressing, doesn't stop running, and he wins a lot of balls. He's like a 25-year-old who still has a lot to show, not a 40-year-old man player that won everything. So that impressed me a lot. Like, I hope he can stay fit. I think he can make it with one game per week. He can make it. I would love if Allegri rest him a bit, like for example plays 60-70 minutes and then we can put Ricci in, or now maybe Yashari, but I think Ricci is more a Modric replacement, and we invested some money in Ricci and hopefully he can get some minutes. And for two reasons: one, for Ricci, like because the guy deserves to play because he's a good player, and also to rest Modric, because we need Modric for the whole season. So, and the 40-year-old, he's one injury away from the end. So if we can like take care of him in the best possible way, we do it. But that's in Allegri's hand. Another player not disappointed. That's after this. Another player that impressed me is Salamakers. The boy matured. He's now a man. He's a player, and he knows what he wants. I saw an interview of him in the first days of the preseason, and he said just now, no more loans. I want to stay here and I want to play for Milan, and he's showing it. Like, we're playing in a system that suits him. Like, he's a wing back. Like, that's the best position he can play. He's very good technically. Like, he can dribbles, he can take opponents 1v1, he can put some crosses in, he can score goals, but also he can defend. And he defends with courage. He doesn't stop running, he fights for every ball for all the match. So yes, I really liked him. For sure, the loans that he had with Bologna and with Roma helped him a lot, because he gained confidence, and now he's showing it. He's one of our main players, and he deserves it. And honestly, I'm happy for him because the guy loves Milan. He shows that he loves Milan and he wants to play. And okay, he already won with Milan, but he wasn't a player that we used a lot when we won the league. Now he can make it as a starter and one of the main players. So yes, he impressed me a lot. One of the disappointments, and honestly I don't think it is a disappointment, the word disappointment is not the right word to use, but for the sake of the question we use disappointment. I would mention Estupinian. I thought that he is a better player. Sometimes he gives me Emerson Royal vibes, and I think that he can give us more. Honestly, before the game versus Napoli, he was showing that he's getting better and better. And then the game versus Napoli came and he did that. Let's call it a mistake. It's not one of the worst mistakes ever, because I think at that moment the instance is that you make the foul. But I think that he could have, his decision making could have been better. I don't mind if he's not that good in that position, because I really believe in his replacement, Bartazaghi. He's an Italian, he's a young boy, he's a homegrown, and a club like Milan deserves a player like Bartazaghi. Like, if we can use the experienced players we have, and we give trust to Bartazaghi, I think it's an investment for the future. Like, he can give us 5-6 years with no trouble, but we need to trust him, and that's why I don't mind if Estupinian is not doesn't reach the level that we are expecting him to reach, and we can use more Bartazaghi. So yes, basically that's it. Yes, I am optimistic about the season. Honestly, our aim is to be in the top 4, which I believe we can do. It's not easy. We need to play, and we need to win games, and we need to keep not conceding goals, which is another positive thing that is happening this season. Like last year, we craved this type of football, not conceding goals. Like last year, we conceded almost every game. So that's another positive thing, that our back three, Pavlovic, Gabbia, and Tomori mainly, and the structure of the team, the midfield, the wing backs. We are in the back 5. Even Mike is having a good season. Pulisic work so hard when we're defending. Santi also, but we need Santi to start scoring goals now, because that's why we got him. But that's another thing. So yes, I'm optimistic that we can reach our goal, top 4. I'm also optimistic that we can challenge for the title. I think we're there. We're in the mix. We're in the mix with Inter and with Napoli. There is Roma and Juventus also, but I think Inter and Napoli are the main challengers with us. I think it will be mainly three horse race for the title. Of course, it is difficult, but not impossible, because I believe we have the same level as Napoli and Inter, with one game per week. Napoli and Inter has Champions League, so that will come into factor soon. So yes, basically that's it. Thank you for the opportunity. It was my first time recording a voice note, so it wasn't that something that I really love to do. But thank you for the opportunity, and of course, Forza Milan.
Thank you so much, Norbert. I once heard that you said we should get me speaking again on the podcast. I hope you're happy. I really appreciated that. Thank you for your comments, and it's great to have you on the podcast.
So if you had to go back a few months and, we've just lost the Coppa final, Rangers going to Man City, Theo's leaving, it seemed all doom and gloom. But thankfully, one glorious, great move was made, um, which personally I was satisfied with, which was to bring back the most underappreciated, undervalued, winningest coach in Italian football history. And I'm really trumpeting him up there, but it's true if you think about it. I mean, people forget that Allegri, has won over, 5 league titles. With Juve, he won 4 consecutive League Cup doubles. He made 2 Champions League finals as a coach. Now, I mean, all these things haven't been relatively recent, but the guy knows what he's doing. It clearly shows that he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's completely turned around a ship that was more or less sinking fast, and he's slowly beginning to drag it out of the water. So, I mean, the appointment of Allegri has been nothing short of inspired. He's still got a lot of work to do. I mean, not everything has been smooth sailing. There have been blimps along the way. I mean, the most obvious one is being the Cremonese first game. But other than that, I think things are being done well, they're being done slowly, and they're being done right. The summer market, I think, addressed the major issue, which was the middle. And, now I think that's arguably our best strength with 6 players who can play in those 3 positions well. Up front, I think in our own fun little way, they've also managed to create a bit of depth because, I mean, if we're going to be playing 3-5-2, you do have 4 good players for 2 positions in Nkunku, Pulisic, Leao, and Jimenez. So, I mean, now the back needs to maybe be a little bit sorted out, to maybe get some depth for the wing backs. But, the squad is being built and it's being built slowly and it's being built in the way Allegri wants, I feel. And I think that's been an extreme positive. An underrated move as well has also been the appointment of Tare, in my opinion. It's been very quiet so far. So, I mean, you haven't really heard much from him, and it's been purely mainly Allegri focused. But Tare, I think, is also another guy who knows the league, who knows the way Italian football works, who's been successful. So, if them two can, come together and really, it can click, it can be a match made in heaven. And that's obviously being a bit hyperbolic, but it's what we hope for. Um, no, so I mean now as well, I think it's a question of pushing on, making use of the advantage that Napoli had last year and following their example where, playing once a week, I taking things game by game, not getting too complacent, staying focused. I think we can have a good season. I don't know how far we can go, but I think minimum top 4 finish Champions League qualification needs to be the target. I mean the the squad as well has improved. You could see they're completely focused. You can see that they're goal driven. There seems to be that hunger that was missing last year. Everyone was just going through the motions, just waiting for like, oh, we have to play a game today. But now there's the actual want, like we want to win this game. We want to prove that we're a good team. We want to prove that we belong there with one of the best. So that's been extremely positive. Yeah, so now the interesting thing will be, I think, the reintegration of Leao. I mean, we've done all this as well without our best player, which is adds to how good it's been so far. I mean, Leao's been a non-factor this year so far. I mean, he had those 10 minutes in the first game against Bari where he looked to say, you say, okay, he's gonna have a good year, and then unfortunately, as usual for us, with us, we have a player in form and he goes down. But I think now his reintegration into the starting 11 and into this team will be very interesting. I think he's now going to be with the best manager he's ever had at Milan, and he can be a player who should be one of the best in the world. I mean, he's capable of it. We all know we don't need to stay going on and on and on about how good a footballer he is. It just boils down to work ethic and desire to show that you are that decisive player in the league week in, week out, which unfortunately may be the only question surrounding him. So if he can really take off this year, I think we could be a very good team. Um, he needs to be the Leao of the last stretch of the league winning season and the whole season of the year after us winning the league. Yeah, he needs to be the Leao of, the one who took over the Super Cup final last year, or the Champions League quarterfinal against Napoli, or the numerous games, that derby. I remember, he had scored 2 goals. He was fantastic. The game against PSG. He needs to be that Leao, and he needs to be that Leao week in, week out. Because if he can be that player, with the way Pulisic is playing at the moment, with the way Salamakers is playing at the moment, Rabiot, Modric, obviously, the fact that defensively we're looking so solid. I mean, that is something which has been really impressive in my mind. How last year we looked completely all over place at the back, and this year it's one unit, one group of players defending well and giving it their all not to concede a goal, taking pride in defending, which is something I think any Milan team should follow because it's part of our history. So, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future, and hopefully, this start of the season isn't a fluke and it's a sign of things to come.
Thank you so much, Benji. Thank you for your comments. Next is Daniel, and Daniel is going to talk to us a bit about Inter. Very interesting. Take it away, Daniel.
Hi, it's Daniel, the only active Inter Milan fan on the spotted group, it would appear. First of all, I apologise. I don't have the soothing Maltese tones of many of you guys. But looking at Inter's season so far, I think after a slightly shaky start, things are looking very good now. Sadly interrupted by the international break after 5 wins in a row and improving performances each time under Kivu. I think the 2 early defeats were to be expected. He's a rookie coach. Fans need to show a little bit of patience. And the more he manages, the clearer Kivu ball seems to be. It's a lot higher pace, higher aggression, more vertical passing, focus on attack. And he's certainly bringing out the best of the likes of DiMarco again, who's looking better than ever and lasting a full 90 minutes. The strikers are all in form, and this season we have 4 of them, which is going to help. After a shaky start, the defence is looking more solid, if not perfect. And although Kivu seems to be using him very carefully in Sucic, we could have the signing of the summer in midfield. So, all in all, I'd give Kivu a 7.5 out of 10 for his start, and looking forward to seeing how the season goes. Cheers, lads. Hello, it's Daniel again. I've been informed by my editor that my initial analysis of Inter's season may have been a little bit too much on the short and sweet side. So, a couple of things I didn't touch on before. For giving Kivu a little bit more praise, the performances so far in Europe. Granted, we've had a very nice start fixture-wise, but after last season's somewhat traumatic ending to the Champions League season, it would have been pretty easy for the players to go into the shells or have a hangover. So, again, to start the season with 2 comfortable wins, looking the part, I think a lot of credit has to go to the manager for getting the players' heads in the right place. Also, as far as our summer signings go, again, from the fan base, there was a lot of negativity, as there was with the managerial appointment. So-called experts predicting Kiva would be sacked by Christmas. None of the players would be up to par. Well, so far, I mean, Akanji's been an absolute rock at the back. I think he's already shown that he's probably an upgrade on Pavard, who himself was a quality player, but Akanji brings his own wealth of experience. And Juve game aside, which was always going to be a tricky first fixture, he's settled straight in and looks an absolute beast. Sucic, as we've touched on before, class, very elegant midfielder, great eye for a pass, already notched a couple of assists. Looking forward to him becoming a linchpin in midfield. The 2 strikers, I know PO technically isn't a signing, but into giving chance to a Primavera player is almost, well, it's a lot more rare than a new signing, so I'm going to include him in the deal. Both have looked fantastic. I think there's a stat floating around that at this time last season, the combination of Taremi, Correa, and Arnautovic had provided us with absolutely 0 at this stage in terms of goals and assists. PO he got his debut goal in the Club World Cup. He's scored in Serie A. He's now got his first goal for Italy, and just looks an absolute powerhouse when he's playing, way beyond his years. Looking forward to seeing how he develops, and hopefully he'll be Inter for years to come. And then Bonnie, again, so many fans. Why have we signed this player? He's only scored 6 goals, even claiming he had no skill or pace, which I found quite baffling. Well, again, every time he's on the pitch, he looks fantastic. His full debut couldn't have gone any better, and with a goal and 3 assists to add to his goal on the opening day of the season. So now it gives us genuine strength up front. Going into the Roma game this weekend, again, Thuram looks like he's not going to be fit, and if Lautaro arrives back in Italy 4 minutes before kickoff, like he usually does when he goes to play for Argentina, then you'd feel no way about Bonnie and Pio starting up front. So the difference from that to last season is night and day. A couple of the other lads, obviously, Enrique hasn't yet shown us much, but he's not been a disaster either. I think he's a player that needs to build his confidence. He's shown little glimpses of what he can bring, and I think eventually he'll be a good alternative to Dumfries and someone who can take a man on, which is something we're not overloaded with in the Inter squad. Diouf, again, he's become something of a joke on the online Inter community, but once again, to write a player off who's basically played a combined minute total of about half an hour is just ridiculous. And even though he made a mistake in the Cremonese match, which led to a goal, he had shown a couple of little flashes there of what he can bring to the team. He's very athletic, very powerful, good with running on the ball. So, again, fans need to give new signings time to settle in. He's a young lad. He's coming to a new league. It's an overloaded midfield, but I'm not going to give up on him yet. I think he could still come good. And one other player who, as cliched as it may be, could turn out to be like a new signing is Fratesi. Now, against Cremonese, he got his first full start of the season. Kiva had said all summer that he wanted to keep him. Some fans were baffled by that, but he was adamant that he could make use of him. And I think we saw in the Cremonese game, Fratesi was used properly, probably for the first time since he came to the club. Kivu's high pressing game suits him perfectly. He was full of energy, full of running. And it also allowed Barella to play in the regista role, which I think going forward should be Barella's position. His 2 best games of the season have come there. He looks far better on the ball, more time on the ball. He can dictate the play. So as things go forward, I think a midfield 3 of Barella, Fratesi, and Sucic could be a very exciting one. So like I said in my first entry, I'm looking forward to seeing how things pan out. I think we're in a good position. I think Kivu's the right man to take us forward. Again, I think fans have to be aware that he's going up against Conte and Allegri, 2 managers who I think have don't quote me, but I think a combined 11 titles between them. So it's wrong to expect him to win the Scudetto in his first season. Fans should be realistic, but that's certainly not to say that we don't have the potential to do so. So let's see how we go. Thanks, lads.
All right, that's about it for Inter. Now we're on to Adam, and Adam's going to talk to us about Juventus. Take it away, Adam.
Hey guys, it's Adam, the resident Lecce fan. I know I don't sound Italian, but my mum and all her side of the family are based in Puglia and they're all Lecce fans. So this is kind of coming. I actually called her about this, so we've kind of put this together, all of us. But yeah, it's been I think first question, the how do we feel about the season so far? It's been like, I mean, to be honest, it's been exactly kind of what we expected. Like Di Francesco has obviously like maybe we expected slightly more attacking football, but I think he's kind of playing with the players he's got. And obviously losing your star striker and Kristovic for like a good sum of money, to be honest. I think that was like, you take 20 to 22 million euros and run, but um we haven't. I mean, I think 15th from the table is probably fair. I think in terms of our style of play, it's very defensive, like really defensive, really counter-attacking, and kind of therefore we're never gonna dominate games. So I think when I was just looking back at some of the stats um for the past 5 games, and obviously we've never had 50% possession or more. We've always had fewer shots on target. So like we're never going to dominate games. So I think every time we do get a point or a win, it kind of feels as though it's lucky, which I mean, look, to some extent it is, but I think that's kind of now our style of play. Like we grind out wins. I think I'll be able to count on one hand the amount of times we're 2 goals up this season. Like it's weird. So like it feels like whether we're winning, drawing, or losing, we're always defending for our lives. So um, I think the season's gone exactly as expected. We haven't overperformed. I think that game against Parma really really kind of helped us. I think if we lost that, then this review would be very different. But I think no, I think we're exactly where it kind of expected us to be, like in and amongst the relegation zone, but like just above it. I think that's purely on maybe experience. I think like, obviously we've been doing this for years now in terms of just scraping by in Serie A. You got teams like Pisa who probably on paper aren't any worse than us on paper, but I think we've got a lot of kind of like Serie A experience. The thing that worries me is the fact that Cremonese and Sassuolo are doing so well. So I don't think we're going to be able to rely on like newly promoted teams to like easy wins. Obviously we've got Sassuolo next, then Udinese after, so kind of 2 big games coming up. So if we can get I mean, look, if we get like 3 points out of that, one win out of those 2 games, I think we'll be in a really good spot. Even 2 draws just to stop Sassuolo. It's a 6 pointer, so even just to stop them winning would be great. But I mean, I think in terms of overperformers right now in our team, obviously, like needless to say, Falcone it will always be our standout player. He's like if we survive again, it'll be because of him. He does it every season. He's pretty much our best player, and I'm so surprised Torino didn't pick him up after selling Vanya. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, I think Ramadani has been like, again, his role in the team is he's kind of very industrious. So I think he just kind of the glue that connects our defense to our attack, and he kind of our metronome. So he keeps us ticking over. So I mean, he's been very solid. I think our front three. Look, I think our main problem is we have a lack of creativity. We've got Stulic, who's been probably our biggest underperformer, coming in for like 5 million euros. He's been our biggest underperformer. I mean, look, I think maybe it takes time to settle in. He's come from the Belgian league, so it is a step up. I want to give him time, but I'm in 2 minds about whether we should give Kamada game time. I mean, he proved himself against Bologna. I think he's a really bright spark. So I want to see more of him, but our front three as well, Sofiel as well. I think he's been a bright spark. I don't know whether it's good or bad that no player on our team has got more than 1 goal or 1 assist. So I don't know if that's good or not. Everyone's like spreading the success, but we don't really have one reliant player like Kristovic, who you could almost guarantee getting 8, 9, 10 goals a season. I'm not sure we've got a player like that this year, and it's pretty evident. I think we're the lowest scoring team in the league. We're definitely down there for sure. But look, I think, am I optimistic about the season? Yes, in the sense that I think we can survive. I mean, interestingly, actually, I had dinner with one of the owners of Cesena, and he knows the owners of Lecce quite well. And obviously, I asked him, like, what's the deal? We've made, for the last 2 years, we've made a roughly 14 million euro profit in the transfer window this year, and like 35 or 36 million euros profit in the last season. So we're up to like 50 million euros or so of profit in the last 2 years in the transfer market, which is you can only do that for so long before you get relegated. And it's the same with any top league. You got to spend a little bit. You can't keep taking money out of the club. But the dinner I had with him, the owner of Cesena said that he knows the owner of Lecce very well, and he says that their main goal is to make profit every year. They even if they get relegated, that's not the end of the world. Their main priority is to make a profit every year, which is pretty depressing to hear as a Lecce fan. So, but look, it's an unsustainable model, and it's so reliant on your recruitment. And so, like for example, we recruited Stulic this season. If he doesn't perform, he's going to be the prime example of what's wrong with this model. You're so heavily reliant on your recruitment every season being fantastic. So, I do think we've got enough kind of like experience and kind of like Serie A now to like survive. I don't think we're ever going to thrive in Serie A, but I mean, I think we're good enough to stay up. We've got enough experience, and if you look at, I think our last 5 or 6 games, I can't remember off the top of my head, but apart from Napoli, we've actually got a really good run in to the end of the season. So I think if we can get to that last 6 games of the season with our heads above the relegation zone, I think we'll be okay. Obviously, by default, you've got an easy run in, which means we have a hard run of games before that. But if we can have our heads above water going into those last 6 games, I think we'll be okay. Like I said, I think we've got the experience to survive. And obviously, look, they've made 15 million euros this year. So I think if we're in a really bad spot, I'd like to think hopefully they'll spend some money in January if they need to. But yeah, look, we play terrorist ball, to be honest. Di Francesco's doing his best. Like, we play nice tiki-taka every now and then, but ultimately we're a counter-attacking team, and I don't think there'll be a single game this season where we have more than 50% possession. But look, overall, we're optimistic. We'll continue to defend for our lives, and I do have us just surviving this year like we did last year, purely on experience. But ultimately, like, you watch us play, and we just don't have a good squad. Like, I look at our squad and I think to ourselves, like, we are probably performing at like 80-90% capacity. Like, our ceiling is not that much higher than where we're performing now, and it's just because I don't think our team is a top team at all. So, like, it's not like, you can point to other teams that like, Fiorentina, who are underperforming based on their, like, the quality of their squad, but yeah, we're not one of them. So I think we'll continue to scrape by in Serie A. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents. Is yeah, I'm choosing to be optimistic. We're going to be hopefully defensively solid, and we're going to continue to grind out 1-0s and 2-1s and 0-0s, and I think we'll have just enough Serie A survival experience to survive the season. And I think for a club like Lecce, I think that's a win. That's a positive season for us. So yeah, lots of love to everyone, and can't wait to hear everyone else's video recordings, because I was bricking it before this. So yeah, lots of love, guys, and can't wait to listen to the episode.
Thank you so much for that, Adam. Next up in line is one and only Tyson. I know Tyson personally myself. Shout out, Tyson. Very excited to hear your thoughts about Napoli. Tyson, take it away.
Hey, so just want to talk about Napoli's season so far, and I think I have to say I'm quite pleased, actually. I'm more pleased than disappointed. Nonetheless, I think there's been some small minor issues. For example, I think we're in a very similar situation to Liverpool right now, where we've signed lots of players, both for the first team and for the squad in general. And I think Conte is a manager who has a system where it takes time to adapt for players. On top of that, he likes to have players 100% ready, especially mentality-wise. So I think it's been a bit of a slow process for some of the players we signed, and not everything is like gelling yet. But I think that's something that comes over time this season. I think Conte is going to install that mentality into the new players more and more every week. And it's not really a big issue. I just think, there's been some scrappy wins over the first few games, but I think that's an issue which over time will just get better, basically. I also think I'm quite pleased with how Napoli dealt with the injury crisis. And also I still think we're the best team in Italy. I think Inter and Milan are behind us, but I still think we're the best team in Italy right now. So yeah, overall I think I'm quite pleased with Napoli's performance so far. So who impressed me so far the most this season is probably Bakema. I mean, when he got his chance, he fit in like a glove. Like, we really needed him, and he was there from the get-go. I think he's great on and off the ball. He's very aggressive going forward, both off and on the ball. I think he has great ball handling skills. You know what I mean. Stop smirking, guys. And actually, he reminds me a lot of Koulibaly in the way he plays and handles himself on the pitch. He just seems like a great guy overall, and I'm so happy we signed him because he really impressed me so far. And I think who least impressed me so far is probably who was supposed to be his counterpart, as in Buongiorno. I think he's fragile as glass. This guy is so brittle, he probably gets injured opening the fridge at home. It's not that I'm not impressed by him, it's just very annoying, and just thank God that we have Juan Jesus, who replaced him brilliantly so far. It's just annoying that he gets injured so far. It's probably not 100% his fault, but he seems like a player who's very, very injury prone. In general, I'm feeling very optimistic. I think we're still the best team in Italy. As I mentioned earlier, I think we're still going to retain the Scudetto, and I just think Conte is that guy. I think he's going to get that mentality in again where it's us against everyone in the league, because people are already doubting us, and I think he's just going to plant that seed in all the players' minds. And, Conte is just that guy. I think he's going to get that team winning the Scudetto again.
Now we move on to Viola Papa, which has one of my favorite names on Instagram. It's amazing for a Fiorentina fan account. I love it. Please keep it up. Take it away, bro.
Ciao ragazzi, io sono Viola Papa. I'll preface by saying that I'm very sick right now. I feel like I have lupus or AIDS or something. Actually, AIDS would make sense because there is a Juve club here downtown Toronto, and I have a tendency to sleep with the members' moms. So I really got to cut that out, dude. I feel awful right now. I'm dying. Anyway, what's my question again? Oh, yeah. Obviously, it's going to be Fiorentina-based. I would like your guys' opinion on why Pioli 2.0 is failing right now. My suspicion is that our midfield doesn't win the ball back like they did last season. Last season, we had Cataldi, Foloruncio, we had Bove for a little bit. They win the ball. They get possession back, right? And now we have Nicapussi, Caviglia, Mandragora starting every match. I mean, he's fine in a three-man midfield. Fagioli, but these are all midfielders who don't win the ball back. They're fine in possession, but they don't win the ball back. And it feels like every time we're in defense, we're going to break any moment. And I'm wondering if you guys agree or if you think there's something else, there's a different problem. And I love you guys. And Juve merda.
We move on to Cesco. None other than Cesco. There's no other team that he can talk about than Roma. He is the most passionate Roma fan I've ever seen in my life. And let's let him take it away with his thoughts, because he's got a lot to say now that they're tied first with Napoli.
Roma, 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 core d'esta città. We are first. If I had to articulate what I feel about our first 6 games, I might incorporate Europe as well. But I'm honestly surprised. I never, ever would imagine that Roma would sit at first place after 6 games. I knew that we had to play against Lazio away, Fiorentina away, and play Bologna as the first game of the season. And those are typical games where a team without spine, without confidence, bit confused, a bit unlucky as well, which is a big factor of Rome, of how lucky we are. Classic games you miss out on. And coming from the worst start from last season we've had one of the best starts this season. So I am genuinely surprised. As of gameplay, I'm not happy. However, when Gasperini came in, firstly, we are so lucky to have a coach like Gasperini in our team. I honestly knew that Gasperini was going to start a bit wavy, and he has the type of football, type of system which gets shit before it gets good. You have to suffer the lows before then you can see the highs, and it really shows how the players press, much more efficiently and effectively. However, one thing I'm a bit disappointed is how sterile we are in attack. Sula has been shining all season, as in not all season, last season when Ranieri came and kept the form on. I'm completely disappointed by both Ferguson and Dovbyk. Elneny, I'm patient with him. He just arrived and has to get used to the piazza, but I'm disappointed in Ferguson. Let's say I had the highest expectations for him. Dovbyk, I knew he was a bit of a lost cause because I know that Dovbyk ain't Gasperini, profile. Ferguson is, and I honestly thought Ferguson would grab a goal or two by now, but he did not. And I honestly think if Ferguson or Dovbyk wake the fuck up and Bailey starts playing on our left side, left flank, wing, whatever, we will actually give everybody a run for their money. I'm very, 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 very impressed by Celik. It is absolutely insane how he has transformed into a very important player for the team. I can't lie to you. I have been sending a couple of voice messages here and there. You can collect these voice messages from the past, listen to them, and hear me say a couple of times how I wanted Celik out of the club, how he's a shit player. I don't know how he went to a football academy and does certain things, and I do not take any of that back. Celik was absolutely shit for us in the past, but ever since Ranieri came, he incorporated him into that, third man in the defense, and he does it so well. He has literally changed as a footballer, and I'm genuinely impressed. Like, I forgot the last time when I was like, hey, when is Celik back from his injury? He's very reliable nowadays, and he's like a new signing. And so is Hermosa. Surprised me because we wanted him out of the club by last January. He's all of a sudden a new player we can rely on. So as much as I rate the Mercato a 6, I think these players, even Pellegrini coming back out of nowhere, I thought he's done with the club. Those are all new signings for us. I still think we need a player like Zirkzee and another left winger, but hey, we're doing fine. Now, I don't know if luck will catch up to us and struggle a bit, but I mean, it's looking good. We are being a very pragmatic team. So it doesn't matter who you play. If we play shit against Verona, doesn't mean we'll play shit against Juve or shit against Inter. We just rise up to the occasion on the day. And if that occasion means beating Verona very, 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 narrowly, then fucking be it. That's 3 points, and that's all that matters. But if I have to play Juventus or Inter on the day, we will change our mindset, and I hope we do, because we have been a bit lucky, and I can't deny that. But anyways, looking forward for next season.
Now, thank you, Cesco. We're on to the rivals, Lazio, and David is going to talk to us about Lazio a bit right now. Take it away, David.
Hello, fellow spotheads. Dave here, Lazio fan from Sydney, Australia. I'll give you a very quick little synopsis of how I think our season's going. Best player or someone who's impressed me, I think it's got to be Cancellieri, and we saw a little bit of that in pre-season, and he's just, I mean, for a club that wasn't allowed to sign anyone because of Lotito's fucking shenanigans, he's been a breath of fresh air, and he's been like a new signing. So I think that's been a great part of our season, a positive, probably one of the only positives, really. I mean, Sarri hasn't had much to work with, but one thing that he has had is he's had the same team for the whole pre-season, which everyone always says that's something that Sarri needs. He needs stability in his team. He's not one to come in and change everything in 5 minutes, you know what I mean? A disappointment, and I think this is more due to the tactical changes between Baroni and Sarri, is Tavares, which I did have a feeling that was going to happen, but I hope Sarri can somehow figure a way to use him. But under Baroni, he really blossomed because he pretty much could just do whatever he wanted. He could run up. Just disregard defending. The system under Baroni allowed for that. So I don't think it's so much on him as the coaching change. And overall, I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not optimistic. I'm not pessimistic. I'm just kind of meh, you know. It's hard to really expect too much going into a season where you're already, you know, a club that would rely on a couple of signings. It's not like we're, you know, some solidified juggernaut. And it was a bit disappointing that it's, you know, you go into a season and you kind of like, if we perform and we get, you know, a Europa League spot, I'd say that's a great season. And for us, even though Lazio is not a massive club, we are consistently going for a Champions League spot. We expect that as fans, and it's just, I think, you know, without obviously, you want to talk about the football on the pitch, but I think in Lazio's case, it's like you can't talk about that without talking about what Tito's doing. I can't fucking stand the bloke, to be honest. I feel like he's just doing it just to troll our fans at this point. Like I've seen footage of him when the fans are booing him, and he's doing like he's orchestrating a musical, being a smartass. He keeps saying he would never sell the club whenever there's protests, and he's saying he's going to give it to his son. And like, how are we going to transfer ban? And we never spend money. And you got all these other clubs in the red consistently. Shout out to Cesco and Roma. I don't know how they're still. You know what I mean? But don't get me started, lads. And finally, I just want to say this podcast is the best. You two are the best. And yeah, I will be a lifetime fan.
Thank you, David. Now let's move on to Bologna. Bologna. Luca is going to talk to us about Bologna right now. Very interesting voice message coming in your way. Take it away, Luca.
Hey guys, what's up? Always a pleasure to talk a bit with you about football and mainly, specifically, about Bologna FC. So what to say about this new season that has just started? Firstly, if I analyze this first part of the season, before the game against Pisa, a lot of people were wondering about Bologna, were worried, and now after this great win against Pisa, everything seems completely changed. As always in football, you win one game, you pass from being a relegation team to a Champions League team, but that's normal. We know how it goes. In my opinion, I wasn't worried before, and I'm not more hyped now that we won against Pisa at home. I think Bologna has a good team to compete, and even if we sold very good players also this year, we still have futurable player, and I think that's the key point about Bologna, to have player that can improve and that you can sell maybe in the future, or that can let's say outrun the past players. Regarding the new arrivals in the summer, of course there was a huge change in defensive wise, with the two new center back, Vitic and Egem, and that's probably our weakness right now, not because they are not performing well, but because we had Beukema, that was an unbelievable player, still is an unbelievable player. I think he will do a fantastic season at Napoli, and his destiny is to play for a big Premier League club, I think. Mainly because we miss him because of his play with the ball, not defensively without the ball, but what he was doing with the ball, so building the play, because Italiano plays a lot with the winger, we know, but his game always starts by constructing the play from the two center backs, and so having center backs that have good personality and good technique is crucial, and unfortunately Egem and Vitic still don't have those characteristics. Of course, they just started. We know that You need some time to get used to Serie A football, mainly defender, with a lot of tactic involved, but I don't think they will ever be at the level of Beukema. Vitic is still very young, so he has space to grow, and I think he will grow in the future. Eggem is a well defensive play, like he defends well. He knows how. He's an old style defender, so very close to the striker, pressing a lot, like using well the body. But for what it regards construction of the play, is a bit slow. But I think the mix of both, that they can improve a bit, and still Lukumi, we have a good center back. Then Zortea, very very good signing for for a good price, because we didn't pay him too much, and now we have left back and right back that are like at a very high level, because we have Holm, Zortea, and Juan Miranda. Juan Miranda, unfortunately, with Ferguson, they are the two players that are playing the worst as of now, respecting also from the other season, from the last season, that we saw them playing incredible football. Ferguson came back from an injury, of course, but he was one of the best players in Bologna, and possibly still is, but probably he's the player that is performing the worst since the beginning for what he can do, and same Miranda. There are two players that are still very back on the performance, and so I think Bologna has a lot of space to grow, because on the near future we can have the explosion of. Yes, and I was saying, in the near future we can have those two back, and then the new signing shining. Talking about the center mid, I said about Ferguson already. Freuler, always a key player, and then I'm really keen to see Sulemana. I think it's a great signing. Deal 1 million loan plus I think 10 million option to buy option, and he played very well for Atalanta. The times he played, he was player of the month in May, I think, for Atalanta. So I'm very happy that we got this deal, and I'm keen to see him. Then Pobega is coming back. Moro is playing well this season, and so I think we have a good midfield, and that can show something more than what he has done up to now. And then talking about the up front, we have Orsolini. I'm not even talking about Orsolini. I think nobody needs to talk about Orsolini. One of the most consistent players that Italian football has seen in the last, for sure, 5 years at least. An incredible player. Then Cambiaghi is growing a lot. We have seen the call from the national team, but you see him. He plays with the motorcycle on the back, like he's crazy fast, and I think he has a lot of space to improve. Also because he reminds me of Ndoye at the beginning, a great dribbler, but was not scoring goals. And then from last year started scoring goals. Everybody knows how it ended the year with the trophy and 50 million value for Ndoye. So if you are a winger that can dribble and doesn't score, is something. If you start scoring, everything changes. So let's hope that for Cambiaghi. I hope that Rowe is going to show his capabilities and is going to be a consistent player and concrete. I want concrete from him, because okay, the dribble, okay, everything, but it needs to be concrete. So let's see. I don't want to say anything because I haven't seen him too much. I think he has something from the touch, from everything, but we'll see. And then up front, for sure, Castro is our striker this year, but he plays very well with the back from the goal. He doesn't attack the space very well yet, So that we need to say. Seeing Bologna, watching Bologna every Sunday play, he has a lot of space for improvement. I think he can improve a lot more, and we are missing Immobile, the goals from Immobile. So I'm positive also for the striker. I think the team is complete. We have a lot of players, and there is a strategy behind. And so that's what I love about Bologna, and what I appreciate about the management, because I always say, if Bologna plays the game who spends the most in the transfer market, you're never going to win, because there is always going to be a team that is going to spend more. So you have to invest in a smart way, and that's what Sartori is doing, and the Bologna, the management is doing. Because I don't want to talk bad about other team, but we know we are not, we don't have a good relationship with Fiorentina, and for example, Fiorentina for me is the perfect example. Every summer spending a lot of money to buy names that at the end they don't play well together. You don't have an idea. You fire Italiano after 3 years, then you take Palladino, that is not a bad manager. After 1 year, you let him go. Why? Like you don't have a sports management idea, like a sportive idea. You just spend money for names. I don't know how much they spent for Beltran, more than 20 million, Kwame more than 10 million, Zola more than 10 million, Piccoli now 30 million. Why? Like you're buying names. Bologna is buying players, futurable players, and that's what makes the difference. And until we will have futurable players that can grow, we will keep rising. I went a bit too long. Sorry, guys, but I get really involved when I speak about Bologna. Last thing I want to say, objective of the season, in my opinion, past the group stage, if we can call it like that, in Europe League for sure. And I think we have to, because we have a good team that can for sure pass the group stage, play an eliminatory game that we haven't been playing for 25 years in a Europe stage. So that's main goal for the Europe campaign. And Serie A is going to be tough this year, but I think we can be in the first 8 position. Then if that is going to be in Europe or not, depends if we will have 5 places in Champions League or not. But I think like 7th, that's, I would say, the goal of Bologna, 7th place. Then if anything more comes, I will be very happy. If not, we'll see. And I want to have a good campaign also in Coppa Italia. We are the winner, of course. And so I think we have good chances to go at least to the semi-final, to bring back home the semi-final. We can play against Parma, and then we play against either Lazio or Milan, AC Milan, but we play at home because we won the cup last year. And so playing at home with AC Milan now is going to be tough, but I think we can do it in 1 game to pass, and then we will be already in the semi-final. And achieving 2 years in a row semi-final of Coppa Italia, passing the group stage and arriving between the first 8th in Serie A table would be a great season, in my opinion. And that's doable.
It's Tyson, and he's going to be talking about Parma. So Tyson, again, take it away. And yeah, that is it for the Serie A ones after this.
Jake, Matt, fellow spotheads, it's Tyson T here again for some more Parma thoughts. I'm just going to continue a little bit on our discussion from last time, just to reset everybody. The situation is that Parma has a complete inability to score any open play goals. And I believe it was Matt mentioned on the pod that it all started with the summer transfer window. and he's absolutely correct the more that I look at this. So just kind of taking a trip back a couple of months, looking at the window, we sold Leone, Bonnie, Soam, and Dennis Boy out of the starting 11. So some big defensive, midfield, and striker departures there. And now we'll just do a quick hit or shit rating on the replacements that were brought in over the summer. Friggin, he is obvious shit. His ACL practically exploded the first time he stepped on the training pitch at Parma. For some reason, he cost 9 million euro. Some unknown guy from the Belgian Pro League, his non-penalty XG per 90 there was 0.36. So he's like middle of the road Belgian Pro League guy. So I don't know why that cost 9 million, why they thought that was a good idea. But anyway, he did his ACL. We're not going to see if he has any hope in Serie A until likely sometime late in the season. Ordonez was a kid they brought in from Argentina. He's going to get a shit rating as well. He can't even get in the lineup. His passing stats are terrible. His progressive carry numbers are okay from Argentina, but who knows how that's going to project to Serie A. Sorensen, another midfielder, was brought in. Big time shit for this guy. Terrible passing. He had, again, sort of similar to Ordonez, okay progressive carries from the Danish Pro League last year. But again, we don't know how that's going to project. Next guy, Troiolo. He's not played a single minute. He's probably shit, but maybe he has some injury I haven't seen reporting on. Ndiaye, this is the first one that I would say looks like could be a hit. He's been mostly solid, a mistake here or there, but nothing too major. For now, he looks to be an adequate replacement, for some of the defensive production we lost with Leone. His ceiling probably isn't as high, but he's fine for this year. Cotrone, I would call him a hit. Solid loan. He's been helpful in supporting Pellegrino. Not much else to say about him. Did score a big goal for us to get a draw in one match. Oristiano, for now, I would call him a hit as well. He has looked dangerous at times when we can actually get him the ball. He's a dribbly boy. But the problem is we can't get him the ball that much. Kremashi, we're going to say shit there. He doesn't make the bench consistently, so obviously not really worth talking about that much. And last, and probably the least, is Britschke, this right back that was brought in from Luzerne Academy in Switzerland. He has no senior football, really. Transfermarkt has a question mark listed for his transfer fee. I have a question mark as well. Why is he here? When he has played, he has been awful, and I just don't know why he is here. So Matt was right. It started with the Mercato over the summer, but we have no passers from the back three. Decent defenders, but none of them can really pass. We have one passer in the midfield in Bernabé, and some guys that can sometimes dribble in lower leagues that we don't know if they can in Serie A yet, and that's why we have no open play goals. The front office must see football exactly like that meme does, where it's like a picture of the pitch and job A, win the ball, stop goal, grr. Job B, score goals, get assist, woohoo. And then in the midfield, they just have squiggly lines and says ball magically moves to the other side of the pitch. I think that's what we're doing, is we just, that's our philosophy. So the more I dove into what we did this summer, the more I feel like it's going to be requiring a miracle to stay up. I hope I'm wrong, but Forza Parma. Later, guys. Thanks again.
Finally, the time has come for me to tell you my thoughts on United. I know some of you probably don't care. I know probably some of you are like, what is this guy doing on Serie A Spotlight talking about the Premier League? Trust me, I believe it's worth it for you to listen, because my pain has been very, very high lately, and I think I deserve to kind of vent this out right now. But no, I do think I'm seeing a bit more promise in what Ruben Amorim was trying to promise us last season. I do think we had one of the hardest starts of the season of any Premier League club. I think we're up there in first. I think in terms of difficulty ranking, I'm very optimistic towards this Liverpool game. I think they're in bad form. It could be that their signings weren't the signings we thought they were going to be this year, and I do think we can go in with a bit of optimism, because there is form picking up in terms of, let's say, Sesko kind of getting those goals in game after game now. Sure, we don't have a very good away kind of like form. Our form is way better at home, but I do believe that I think we will make a spot for Europe this year, and I don't think it's going to be easy still. I think it's going to be a big fight, and I don't mind if we don't have Europe next year. I just want to end up in the top half of the table, or like right before Europe, because that will be an improvement from last year at least. I don't want to be like how we were last year, but last year is an exception because we brought in a manager very late on, and those things are going to happen. You're going to change systems, you're going to want new players, and he still hasn't had enough transfer windows to truly dominate the Premier League, because we do have the money to provide that. We don't have the consistency of managers, so give him a couple of years. I truly back in him, and I think he could be something that brings us back to competing. I believe in Sir Jim, our owner, and I do think we will have a better second half to the season, and I think our momentum is slowly picking up as we go along, and I think optimism is the best thing for United fans right now, because there's no point in us just laying in sadness and depression. I think we can overcome it by becoming a community and really being optimistic, because I'm enjoying how some of these players are playing. Dorgu in specific, incredible. I mean, talent from Lecce, right? Insane, really good wing back, and I'm really enjoying watching him play. Another one's Brian Mbuemo, the new signing, along with Cunha and Sesko. Really good new signings that really are making an improvement to the team. Also, the new keeper is a big one. I mean, like, we couldn't keep on going with Onana and Bayern there, unfortunately. It just wasn't working whatsoever. And I think he's claiming high balls, and he's very, very aggressive in the way he plays, that I think it's worth it. So I'm very happy with that keeper performance against Sunderland last time. Very, very, very powerful performance, and I hope he keeps up that momentum, because he could be one of the greats. It's too early to say that, but let's just hope for the best, right? Thank you so much, guys, for watching this week's episode. It was very fun to bring you guys something different. Thank you for supporting this podcast. It's been great being the producer and editor for the past couple of months, I think it has been now. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, and I'm so excited to bring you guys more content, more podcast episodes, and to keep on innovating the podcast. Thank you so much for supporting once again, and we'll see you next week with the same old episode of the Matchday Roundup. Thank you so much. See you.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
In the football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.